Collective. Hey, what is going on? Welcome into the channel. So happy to have you here always. My name is Deborah, owner of Purusha Holistic Wellness, and this is another episode of Purusha Intuitive, where we're going to be doing our midweek check-in via the tarot, astrology, any channeled messages that come through. And I will also be incorporating some Ayurvedic or holistic wellness things that we can implement into our life in order to help strengthen, support, enliven our best potential. So let's get into it. I hope that you are doing well today. We're in Cancer season. We just moved into Cancer season. I'm a little bit behind on the channel, so please forgive me. Life has been really busy. There's been some things, unexpected stuff that's popped up, and just my attention has been taken elsewhere. So, and that's kind of just the nature of the beast right now. I feel like we got a lot of energy, a lot of momentum during Gemini season, and it like pushed us into Cancer, right? It pushed us into Cancer season, which does make sense because we had that new moon end of last week, and then we began Cancer season, right? On Sunday, on the 21st. I think that was Sunday. I apologize if I'm not correct on that. But now that we're in Cancer, it does have a tendency to heighten our emotions, our feelings around certain situations. And it does seem like emotions are running high. Even if there's not big emotional explosions or, right, like emotional conversations, heated in conversations, it still is like brewing underneath the surface is what I'm hearing. And while I'm actually thinking of this, okay, yeah, awesome. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we had audio because I've had trouble with that as well. So being mindful of where you're at emotionally. Yes, things can come out of left field, things we're not anticipating, not expecting, that can kind of shake our grounding, shake our footing. But that's why we do things like take care of self-love, self-care, any type of wellness protocol we put into our daily routine is going to definitely help make us stronger when those things do come out of left field. And hopefully it's not that for you. You know, everyone's situation is going to be a little bit different. Make sure to take the messages that resonate, leave the rest behind. You don't need to make everything fit. Sometimes that can even be more stressful, and especially when we're in these emotional spaces where it can be hard to see things clearly. We might be intuiting something, picking something up, but then we have to translate it, right? Then you have to actually like process it. You have to understand what it means for you and then what you're going to do about it, and weigh it against some practicality. I'll say that as well, because anytime we're in water season, emotions can get the best of us. And I'm not saying, you know, again, everyone's situation dynamic is going to be a little bit different. Hopefully it hasn't been affecting you too intensely. Hopefully you have been able to kind of stay grounded within self regardless of what is going on around you. And if not, that's okay too, right? That's kind of why we come back to these spaces, to get the confidence, the affirmation, the validation that we're looking for, so that we can strengthen self and then go back out into the world and use our strength, right? But we do have some tense emotional aspects with the moon. The moon is tensely aspected to Venus as I'm recording this, which, you know, that's definitely when things hit close to home, when we take things personally, when people, situations close to us rub us the wrong way or show up in a way we're not anticipating, not expecting, and it definitely hurts it's not as much the ego, it's just our feelings, right? Like it's when we have unmet expectations. That's kind of it in its basic form. And so it is taking a beating to our ego in certain ways, specifically with the sun tensely aspected to Saturn as well as to Neptune. So if we keep trying to force the issue, if we're not going to listen to our instincts, what our intuition is telling us, then yes, we might wind up in situations we don't really want to be a part of. And with the sun tensely aspected to Saturn, it's a little bit of like not really wanting to do the work, right? Not that there's laziness. I think actually, as I'm saying this, Jupiter is in Leo right now, correct? Or it's about to move into Leo, which can be a little bit more of a laissez-faire attitude. So being mindful that like, as much as like, I feel like this has kind of been an overall theme in the collective for a hot minute, but that value of commitment, making sure that we are kind of dotting our I's, crossing our T's, doing the hard work, not letting things take us off course, keeping things buttoned up, right? And you can still have fun and play. I'm not trying to say to be a robot, but there is this, in the astrology, there is this like middle of the road energy being called for, that yes, we're aware of what we want and how we want things to change, but we're also aware of like what we currently have to deal with. And Mars has been in, it still is in Taurus. It's about to enter into Gemini the end of this month, actually in a couple days, which will bring in a little bit more diversity, a little more options. Actually, it's going to be very freeing for our Mars energy. I feel like it's, and that's why if we are going to hit the ground running, or if there are going to be things that come our way, we want to make sure that we're vetting it, right? That it's not too good to be true, or, you know, whatever. We'll get into it a little bit more, kind of a long-winded intro. But before we go any further, I'm going to start off with an energy cleansing just to set the tone, set the vibe for the reading, cleanse out those places we might feel blocked or limited. It's a really good time to set your own intention, especially if you have come in with something on your heart, on your mind, something you would like Spirit to deliver messages to you around. Definitely give that over. Be open to receive. It really is a great way to personalize these collective readings. I also do personal readings. I offer a variety of healing and wellness services. Readings are one of them. If you want me to look at your specific situation, how it's faring, where it's headed, definitely hit me up. Or if you're looking for more of a rebalancing of self, alignment of your mind, your body, your soul, I do energy healing as well as Ayurvedic or holistic wellness consultations, because when we are aligned in self, that's really where we are operating out of our strength, our empowerment. It's where we achieve happiness, fulfillment, success, manifestation, all that good stuff, right? And we all deserve it. We're entitled to it. I would love to help support you in whatever way possible. Definitely hit me up. All the info to get into contact with me is in the description box below. All right, let's get into it. I bless you with pure love and light, pure source energy, pure loving grace. I release anything that is not for your highest and best. Any fears, doubts, insecurities, lack of worth, lack of value, pain, anger, frustration, impatience, overwhelm. Cleanse it and release it from our being so that we may see and understand the messages clearly and help to make me a clear and open channel for the collective. Thank you, Father God, Spirit guides, guardian angels, Mama Love. All right, so I feel like you have a lot to kind of keep your eyes on, to kind of maybe keep up and running. There's this energy of feeling a little bit split or pulled in a lot of different directions. And this could just be energetically, like it doesn't even have to be in your physical world. You could even not have a lot going on in this present moment, but like a lot of options or choices that you need to make. And it feels like I am picking up some amount of internal struggle. I talked about some of those transits where we're seeing some tension. Venus is in Leo right definitely loves that affirmation validation. And when we're not getting it, especially from people or dynamics that we expect to receive it from, it can be a little bit of, a tough pill to swallow. It can feel a bruise to the ego, right? I think I said that earlier. I apologize. I'm not trying to be redundant. It's what came out. So I like this. This energy has been coming up a lot in our readings, in personal readings. The spacesuit is how we find our sustenance, our life force energy, that prana. What essentially sustains us is what that means. So, yes, we can all operate in our life, keep it up and running, but we need to be fed. We need to be nourished. We need to be supported. And we need to know what those sources are for us in our life. And I feel like this week or this weekend, it's a lot about taking time to think through, to process through, and really make that commitment to self. This summer or these next few months, there's good energy, right? Like Mercury is going to go into retrograde as well, end of the month. It's going to be mostly in retrograde throughout July, which, whatever. We go through Mercury retrogrades often is what I mean by whatever. Okay. It's not a make or break energy. I look at retrogrades like they slow down that value in our life, where it's giving us an opportunity. It's highlighting the things that are and are not working. And more specifically, where we need to be making adjustments, where we need to slow it down a little bit, where we need to give ourselves the extra opportunity to make sure that whatever choices, decisions we're making is in alignment with what we want, with what we authentically want, with what we authentically feel. And yes, the way that those are manifesting might look different than what we think on the surface level. But if we can stay open to the process, it makes it way easier. And that's, again, where this foundational support becomes so imperative for you this weekend. I think also because moving into Cancer season, we've been seeing some of those emotions heighten, and it is bringing awareness around where there is disconnect. Maybe challenging to acknowledge, not really wanting things to, this needle and thread, it's all about repair. So it's when we want things to look different and it just doesn't, or it just can't, even if we have put a lot of work into mending fences, making things work, stitching up broken pieces, right? Like stitching up where there has been tears in the fabric. And it's worked for a period of time, but perhaps other things are unfolding. And it does look like whatever is popping up in your life right now is popping up so you can look at it with that fine-tooth comb or underneath a microscope in a way that perhaps you haven't been able to date. There's a reason that things work out for us for the period of time that it does. And maybe you're a part of a situation where you could make it work for a period of time, and now it's just starting to look a little bit different. Or now there are things that are actually surfacing that are forcing you to look at it a little bit deeper, or specifically with that idea in mind of longevity, how it's going to sustain, if it is actually sustaining you, and then having the courage to be able to start cutting some of those things off. Unfortunately, with the cutting board, it's not a bad energy. This is an energy that is actually providing more support and sustenance for you long term. It's kind of solidifying the success that you've built to date, and then saying, okay, now how do you want to sustain this, or how do you actually want to integrate this into your life so it can look a little bit bigger, a little brighter, a little bit more profound, or more in alignment with what you want. It's hard to have the courage right now. I'm not surprised about this being in the blocked energy. I think this is also why it's important to just spend some time with yourself this weekend if you can. It's not a bad weekend, but there is still some tension brewing. We're seeing this all across the board. Like, it's not horrible today, but throughout the weekend, it does feel a little bit tense, especially on Saturday with the sun and moon tensely aspected to like a lot. I'm not going to go through it right in this moment, but you can always pull up a chart. There's a lot of support that's happening around us, but generally when I see the sun and the moon both have a lot of tense aspects to it, it really speaks to how it's playing off of our ego and off of our emotions. And that is directly connected to our ability to find courage within self. And it also takes a lot of courage to look at the nitty-gritty, to look at the things that, if you don't look too hard, it's fine. You can kind of get away with whatever, right? Whatever that is. But this is about some level of empowerment that you need to give yourself that is actually going to help you align better with what your goals or desires are, with what you kind of have in mind for how you're building your life. Choices, 100%, things that you want to make. I think that you've been waiting to really see exactly what certain things are, certain people, certain situations. We have the 7 of Swords and the 7 of Pentacles. And I think you were just kind of, I don't know, like, to me, this comes across as an energy of like waiting until someone or something revealed themselves. It feels like some of that is happening. And I feel like it's coming into your awareness a little bit more, especially because the 7 of Pentacles is also about like building towards the fruits of our labor, right? It's a continual investment that we put into self, that we put into our life, our business, our money, our whatever that is for you, right? Whatever you are trying to grow and build. And the 7 of Swords is when we have someone either trying to like skim off the top, like that's how the energy comes through, or kind of maybe even like, I don't know if they're directly like infiltrating, like stealing from you, but it does have this energy of taking. And that just might be like you're in a position where you're giving more than what really you need to be. Maybe it's readjusting exactly how much you are showing up in a dynamic. We'll actually pull some cards. But those were the first 3 that fell out. So I just wanted to honor that. It's helping you cultivate more space so you can pay attention to the things that you want and that you need. And I think that's really important for you right now, especially as it pertains to this courage. The courage is in your blocked energy. So for some reason, something is hard. And I feel like with that 7 of Swords, 7 of Pentacles, it's hard to see someone or something for what it is. And when we're talking about this, Ayurveda talks about how like this is the best thing we can do for our mental emotional, is have complete awareness around what something is, what a relationship actually is. Not shortchanging it or like buying into some type of illusion. And we're seeing that with the sun tensely aspected to Neptune, when our ego kind of gets the best of us and we want to kind of bypass or not pay attention, sweep it under the rug, put it on the back burner, whatever it is. But as that's coming up, the first card that comes in is Strength. And there's something around this where there's already a situation that it's difficult to be involved in, and maybe difficult for everybody involved. And maybe to some capacity, everybody is saving face. There's a lot of non-communication is what I'm hearing. And as I'm saying that, Mercury is, let me pull up the chart that Mercury is tensely aspected to Chiron. Like, so this is when not everybody is really choosing healing or growth or evolution. And there is something that's getting in the way for someone. It could be you, it could be someone else. Everyone's situation is going to be different. But it definitely has this vibe of like trying to keep appearances up. You're looking really grounded in self, and maybe that could be triggering for someone or something as well. Coming in as the King of Pentacles, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, it's earth energy. It is about stability. And, you know, I think this is like Pentacles or earth energy, it's very strong. And strong in self. Sometimes it can be a little bit too stubborn, right? Because it's so strong. But I'm seeing that as a benefit for you right now. Not that you have to be stubborn. That's not what it's about. I was just trying to communicate the energy. Hopefully that's understood. But in this way that when we are strong in self, it makes it that much easier to look at things with that fine-tooth comb. To not be so afraid to look at things with that scrutinizing eye or with that eye of awareness. That's helping to uncover some of the difficulties, some of the disconnects that are present in a dynamic. The strength is Leo energy. Someone's having a really hard time taming themselves. But again, this is a lot about their own stuff with the Eight of Swords in their blocked energy. Because that talks about someone refusing to see, refusing to acknowledge, refusing to think about things in a more like in a more bird's eye way. Like they're only seeing the fear, the anxiety, the what ifs, the negatives, that type of thing. And it actually is becoming really overwhelming. That's part of where it's like the weakest link. And I'm not trying to call someone weak, but it has this energy of like, I feel like someone's kind of faltering a little bit. And in a way that the situation might be detrimental. Perhaps you're internalizing it as something different than what it is. Because there's a level of commitment that you've given to this. And with the Knight of Wands in your blocked energy, it's either provoking some type of fear or maybe you're internalizing it. I'll clarify that a little bit more as well. Maybe you're internalizing it as it would be you acting too hastily, especially with you in that King of Pentacles energy. Because he's very rational, he's very practical in his approach. But the Knight of Wands is not. Like, he might be smart, he might know what he's talking about-ish, but a lot of the choices, the decisions that he's making is based off of like arrogance, pride, haste, I know better type vibe. Not good, bad, right, or wrong, but just in the way that whatever you're kind of, however you're perceiving this, you're almost putting yourself in a position that's not really true. And I don't know if this is just like you putting extra responsibility on your plate, thinking that if you don't do so much, then you're the one who's letting things fall apart, or taking a lot of responsibility and blame in a dynamic that's not really yours to take on. Because there is something around this where at the end of the day, something is going to do what's best for them. Nine of Pentacles is an independent energy. It's like they're stressing out so much about whatever. I can clarify this a little bit more. Let me just finish the spread. But it's like they're stressing out about whatever, to the point that it is affecting, and it continues, unfortunately. It affects you, it affects the dynamic, it affects the ability for things to actually evolve and get better and heal. And it looks like you're exploring this a little bit more. And I think, I don't know, there's something about this that like, I think this is the part of whatever this is for you that's making it hard to find courage, because it's basically saying that like you can see this for what it is, and if anything, you're getting a lot more clarity around what this is this weekend, and it like puts you in a position where you know you're going to have to make some hard choices. I think this is more about attachment to the situation, attachment to what you wanted it to be. But then it's also tagging back to like, what price will you pay for whatever this is? Because it feels like, again, well, what it looks like, it doesn't even feel like it's what it looks like. Someone's blocking their own energy. Actually, it should just be like this: the Strength, the Eight of Swords, and the Moon. Someone's blocking their own energy. This is something that like you can't even control. This is like something they have to kind of figure out within themselves. And maybe as the King of Pentacles, you've been able to be a stable force to some capacity, but it looks like that's not working any longer. It looks like it feels a little bit more like there's not as much control, or there's not as much cohesion in this dynamic. It's starting to feel off, awkward, disjointed. And like I said, with them as the Nine of Pentacles, it looks like they're going to do like whatever is best for them. Let's see why this is such a huge effect on them. Like why there might be a little bit of jealousy with the Empress popping out. It might just be how you're showing up. Let's see. How they're perceiving you. And I don't even know that you are 100% aware of this. I think that they just have other ideas in mind. This is not an energy that wants to work together. This is an energy that like is trying to like break apart or separate, or, you know, I don't know. There's something about this energy that like they don't like whatever direction it's going in, and they're trying to change that. I don't think that they've had a lot of success. I wouldn't even be surprised if this is the first time that they've tried to like alter the dynamic, you know, and especially if you've been in this dynamic for a while, because as much as you are stable in self, whatever that means to you, at the same time, it's also just kind of provoking a lot of feelings that like you don't want to be a part of. Knight of Wands, I already talked about. Nine of Wands, it's being on the defensive. It is like the wounded warrior. It's the person who's been through battle and then just like has to keep fighting. And it's a feeling of like, they have to deal with whatever these persuasion you in this position emotions are, that I don't know. They don't really seem very rational with this Eight of Swords. I know emotions aren't rational. I think this is an opportunity for someone to heal, and they're not seeing it as that. And so instead of trying to acclimate and evolve and get better, they just keep falling back into this place of difficulty and struggle. And it is about you, I guess, but it's not about you. It doesn't really, it's about their own stuff that they need to, again, heal within self. And that's not easy. Disappointment and dissatisfaction. But I don't want to leave you with that because, and again, I think that this is why the courage is on the back burner right now around this, because there is connection, there is life that has been lived that you want to maintain, that you want to cultivate, that you want to continue to nurture and grow. Like I said, I'm not really sure this energy is on the same page. And I feel like you're able to see that, you're able to understand that even more as you're moving forward. It's becoming more glaringly obvious. And it's almost like one of those things that like, as soon as you acknowledge it, you can't unsee it. And then all this stuff keeps like confirming exactly what you already know. And so it's going back to the drawing board of like, how do I find my nourishment and support given this situation? What are changes and adjustments that I can do to make sure that I am honoring? Because I think, like I said, if it, whatever that means for you, or there's like just, it's more about ultimately this energy is going, and you might even hit that point with them. I'm not really sure that, like, I don't know. I think that, yeah, 10 of Swords, because we get the 8 of Wands, which is communication, messages, communications coming in. It's also things picking up, becoming faster. 10 of Swords, the Emperor. Ooh. Repeated mistakes by someone who's needing the control. And like, yeah, it's just, it feels like someone or something is not playing fair. It's almost like whatever is blocking them mentally, emotionally, they're not seeing it from the lens of like, let me backtrack a little bit, or let me take a few steps back and really evaluate what this is. It's more like pointing the finger, blaming you, whatever, collective, who this reading is for, who it resonates with. It has this energy of like, it's your fault, it's your responsibility, you did this. And really, you're not even doing anything. If anything, you're kind of like sitting, hanging out in the background, like, good, you're good, you know? And something has a difficult time with this. And the more okay you become, it almost aggravates them more. They get more angry, more frustrated, more emotional. And it's like them getting so frustrated and then trying to do things to either undermine you, or like I said, maybe even making a decision that comes out of a field that you're not anticipating, not expecting at all. I don't know if earth energy, but it like, I'm hearing like blissfully ignorant. So making sure you're not hanging out in that space too long. Making sure that you're remaining on top of things. Again, I think it's going to be stuff that's hard to deny. And I think it's really important for you to give yourself like that validation, whatever you need, confirming what you're sensing, what you're picking up, what you're feeling. Because something does need to be dealt with before it deals with you. And I feel like this is something that's already in your awareness, already in your understanding. Maybe there's a little bit of difficulty pinpointing it, but if you actually like had an honest conversation with yourself this weekend about what the reality of something is, it's going to bring you the clarity that you need. And again, I feel like Spirit's already confirming that for you along the way. So definitely honor self, pay attention, activate your mind. Try not to get too, this is where the emotion, the Cancer energy can really work against us, is if we're attaching or latching on to what we want someone or something to be, and it's just not. Because I feel this activate your mind is like, you needing to get out of a rut of some sort. Not putting yourself in harm's way is what I'm hearing. Like making sure that like you're aware of what's going on in your life, and then you're actually being proactive and doing something about it. You might acknowledge it and be like, oh, but it will be fine. And that is an example of sweeping it under the rug. Not really paying attention to how people, situations are showing up, are treating you. And honestly, it feels like this is like fairly obvious. You know, it's hard to miss when someone's getting really emotional or just being kind of weird, kind of off. You know what people's baseline is, right? And then how they're acting, responding out of that. And a lot of this, whatever this is, it's like their own mental limitation. So it's like, making sure to not give someone too much benefit of the doubt. And again, I'm not saying you have to be mean. It's not about that. It's this value of just like making sure that you're not shooting yourself in the foot type thing. Okay, always evolving, right? And that can be a little bit of a bittersweet, acknowledgement, realization that life is always changing. It's always evolving. It's never really going to look the same. Yes, we might have comfortability or stability for periods of time, but then things change and they grow and they're going to look a little bit different. And honestly, we're in a time of a lot of change with Pluto moving into Aquarius. It's still at the beginning stages of Aquarian energy, so we're still getting acclimated. This is like, it's in retrograde right now until mid-October. And this is the first time it's retrograding and actually staying in Aquarius. And all that means is like, we're getting comfortable with the growth and with the evolution that we're doing. But we also have to acknowledge the places where change needs to happen, i.e., especially if we know it's in our best interest long term. That is something that I think is really important, is making sure that you're weighing it against like what you see for yourself. And if it is something that is not bringing life-giving energy to your life, to what you're trying to succeed in, it does need to be reevaluated. Because the more we sit in that energy, the more we attract that energy, which is often counterintuitive to our abundance, to whatever we're trying to draw in, right? And that's where also courage is needed. Whether we like it or not, I know it can be a little bit difficult, right? Sometimes we do have to, just be adults and say like, okay, I really just have to make a decision that honors myself, even if it might hurt other people. We don't have to like actively conspire to hurt people, but we do have to make choices that are highest and best for ourselves. And this definitely feels, it's not like, this is not just like a fine situation that you're like walking out on. This is something that's actually bringing difficulty and heaviness. And it feels counterproductive to what you're trying to do for yourself as a whole. And those are the things that need our focus, that need our attention. Yeah, because you're ascending. Things are looking different for you now. We've been getting this a lot in our readings lately, where it's like, you're leveling up to a certain capacity. And as you are growing, as you are building, evolving, like stepping into better, higher, more successful versions of yourself, then your life, your environment is going to look very different as well. And not everyone is going to vibe, is going to resonate with that. And this 9 of Pentacles is telling you exactly that. It's not your fault. It's not your responsibility to maintain a connection, especially when it is starting to change and look different. And the name of the game right now is to be really honest about what that is for you and the choices that you do need to make for self in order to kind of, feel more sustainability within your life, right? This life force energy. What is actually going to help you thrive? What is actually going to help be a strong foundation for the ways that you are growing, that you are evolving? That's what this is all about, right? When we evolve, we can't sustain the same foundations that we used to. We have to, those have to change as well, because our needs, our wants, they change too, right? And that's all you're doing. And I think it's just kind of, and I'm seeing this a lot as Pluto moved into Aquarius. It really is like weeding your garden. It's getting rid of like the things that just aren't really serving, that are clogging up your energy, making you doubt yourself, making you feel small, insecure, unable, or that are like directly infiltrating you, like kind of keeping you separate from your wants, your needs, your dreams and desires, right? All of that is changing, and we have an opportunity to change along with it. And it's definitely highlighting the places where there is a lot of dead weight in our life. So I hope this helps for this weekend. Thank you so much for your time, energy always. I super appreciate you. I appreciate the channel, all the love and support always. No, it just blesses my heart. I hope you found messages that resonated for you here. Thank you for that support again, especially if you've made it this far in the reading. No, it really helps the channel. You can also drop a comment below. That helps the channel as well. I love to hear if it resonates, or just share in a little love, a little TLC. I should be back up and running now. I think this week was some unanticipated things came up, so it just kind of detoured my focus. But I'm hoping, I hope I don't say that too much, but I'm hoping to be back up and running. I'll be live Saturday. I'm not going to start uploading long videos until next week. So we'll do the weekly schedule, live Saturday, live Sunday, and then Monday I'll pick back up where I left off with the zodiac reading. So thank you so much for your time, your energy, your patience, flexibility with me always. No, I so appreciate you, all the love and support, and I am sending love and support back your way. Have a happy Thursday. I'll talk to you soon.